Welcome to the show, everybody. Hope you had a good long weekend. If you got one, if you celebrated the 4th of July holiday, even if it just meant not working, what a week and what a period of a few days it was, with global consequences in the political world, and many Americans here looking at what happened in the UK, looking at what happened in France, and asking what predictive value, what stories, what might we be able to glean from what happened in Europe about what's going to happen here in November. And it's understandable. I mean, before we dig into this, I think it's understandable. And later in the show, let me back up. I've been getting crushed by my own audience, either because I'm saying, hey, maybe there is something to the idea of replacing Biden, but I'm not sure. There are people writing in saying, David, it is obviously a necessity to replace Biden, and I don't like you because you're not saying that. And then there are people writing in saying, David, it is obvious that replacing Biden shouldn't even be discussed, and I'm canceling my membership because you were saying, hey, I don't know, maybe it's something Biden should consider. I've been upfront. I don't know what path makes sense. And we're going to have a debate here on the show, not today, with Cenk Uygur and Rachel Bitecofer, who have very different perspectives on what should happen. And I'm going into that wanting to learn, because I think that there are strong fact-based arguments to be made on both sides, but they are incomplete fact-based arguments in that we have an unprecedented situation. And so if you are finding yourself saying, I'm kind of confused by what should happen, I'm hearing good arguments from both sides, how can I figure it out? Well, part of the figuring out in an unprecedented scenario is you have to wait until the event, which is going to be the election in November. Given that we have an unprecedented scenario here, convicted felon president on one side, oldest president in history on the other side, whose debate performance understandably raised questions about his fitness to continue, despite the fact that we have a great economy and he has accomplished so much. Given all of that, one of the places we might look is to Western Europe. Western Europe, which often when we see rightward swings or leftward swings, they either mirror or are mirrored by what happens here in the United States. We saw in 2016 and the immediate years following it that after Donald Trump won in the United States and we saw this rightward swing, this faux populist authoritarian rightward swing, we saw something similar in Europe. We saw it in Hungary. We saw it in the UK. We saw it in France to a degree. We saw it in Poland, Belarus. Okay. So now there was the expectation that the UK and France were going right again. And those expectations completely failed to materialize. First, Labour Party's Keir Starmer becoming the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, a definite leftward swing from Rishi Sunak. And then despite expectations in France that Marine Le Pen's right-wing coalition with rising wonder boy Jordan Bardella were going to have an incredible result and France would go hard right, French voters, as reported here by Reuters, deliver a win for the left, a blow for Le Pen, and a hung parliament. Emmanuel Macron's coalition, by the way, coming in second, but between the left coalition coming in first, Macron's coalition second, this relegates the far right of Marine Le Pen to third, and significantly lower success than what was expected by so many. Voters in Britain said to the Tories, we're not interested. I think it's time for Rishi to move out of the Prime Minister's mansion. And then the French people saying, yeah, we're not big on Le Pen, who loves Trump and loves Putin, and we are saying no. And in fact, here is Marine Le Pen saying their policies are the policies of Trump.
Parce que l'air de rien, les grandes lignes politiques que je défends sont les grandes lignes qui sont défendues, effectivement, par M. Trump. C'est défendu par M. Poutine.
There you go. She's admitting what she represents, what her coalition, what her party represent, are the positions of Trump and the positions of Putin. So there are three at least important stories here to consider. One of them is that Trump is terrified by these results. to the extent Trump understands what's going on. Maybe better said, the people around Trump are looking and they're saying, you know, if the UK has said we want labor here, and the French have said we want something even to the left of center-left Macron, this doesn't bode particularly well for Donald Trump in November at a systemic level. This is abstracted from Joe Biden's debate performance on June 27th. This is abstracted from Donald Trump selecting 3 Supreme Court justices who participated in overturning Roe v. Wade at its point of most popularity in American history. This is aside from all of that. It's just Europe seems to be going left after a rightward swing. In the United States, after Trump won in 2016, 18 wasn't very good. 20 was no good. 22 was no good. The off-year elections in 23 were no good. Every referendum related to abortion was no good from the perspective of MAGA Trumpism. If you look at Europe, you look at the United States, last few elections, none of it looks good for Donald Trump, and the people around him are terrified. And there's a second story here that is an important one to consider, and that is about predictions. Because you see right now all sorts of people breathlessly, we'll have it on this show. Cenk Uygur has been saying, Biden's done. He's dropping out. He absolutely will lose. The debate only reaffirms that. And then on the other hand, Rachel Bitecofer says, the only person who can win is Joe Biden. It would be a disaster to remove and replace Joe Biden. Okay. One of the factors that is interesting about what happened in the UK and to a greater degree France is that there were predictions just as breathless and just as confident about an incoming right-wing victory in France. They were wrong. They were very wrong. And so we should consider in the United States, as we look at polling, which we will do, as we look at the analyses from the so-called smartest people and best predictors, who they can't all be right because they're predicting opposite things. As we look at that, consider that even an analysis apparently based on publicly available information and facts can very much be wrong. And what happened in France has proven that yet again. So with that entire context, with the understanding of what's happening in the UK and France, with the understanding that there is a growing part of my audience that is furious with me for conflicting and opposite reasons, I am going to continue giving you the facts, but also telling you the limits of the information and the predictive value of what those facts can provide us. The next question is, as I promised you before the debate, we will track the change in polling after the Trump-Biden debate. Let's do that next. If you live in the US, did you know that anyone can access your most private information using those people search sites? These sites are populated with information from data brokers, which have access to your social security number, login credentials, addresses, location history, even your online activity. But our sponsor, Incogni, is the service that will put your mind at ease. You just create an account, grant them the right to go to work for you, and then you sit back while Incogni has data broker sites remove your personal data from their databases, and Incogni keeps you updated on the status of everything, and they will handle any objections from those data brokers. This is often the reason people get robocalls, because their info is on one of these sites that Incogni will take you off of. Scammers use that information to commit fraud against you. Go to incogni.com/Pacman and use the code Pacman to get 60% off an annual plan. The link is in the description.